Okay, folks, welcome back again to a look at race and ethnicity. This is going to be a really brief video lecture here, and I want to introduce you to some how we look at the topics of race and ethnicity in sociology. So it's in sociology and anthropology where the study of race originates, okay? So it is in these fields of study, okay? It is in sociology and anthropology. So some really basic terminology here, and we're going to be looking at page, just briefly here, at page 340 of your textbook, okay? So if you want to turn to that. But I would like to illustrate a little bit how we think about race and ethnicity. Okay, so race, and I'm also going to put this in a very consideration of the practical thinking of race and ethnicity. Okay, so part of what we're going to do here is both cover the sociology and a little bit of the anthropology of these terminologies, and also think about that in the context of how the norm is, or how the popular culture thinks about race and ethnicity. So in my experience with covering this material with students is that the academic study of race and ethnicity is pretty much separated what people's general understanding is of race and ethnicity. And what I mean by that is that through our own personal experiences in culture and in society and what we're exposed to, these ideas that we have about race and ethnicity don't match what the understanding, the social science is of race and ethnicity. Not just the social science, but even the biology of this. And that's what I want to do to kind of set the stage for the next couple of videos that you're going to watch, okay? So, you know, when we think about race, we think about biology, okay? And when we talk about this in a lot of my classes, you know, when you think about race, what is that? And how does that serve as a characteristic that defines people, okay? And so, you know, think about race again as biology, and oftentimes when we cover this in class, we think about things like skin color. You know, it's pretty easy to know who black people are, or who white people are, or maybe in some cases who Asian people are. And so we also get into thinking about physical characteristics more in general. And to continue on with physical characteristics, maybe hairstyle, maybe bone structure. Okay, so you get the idea here of thinking about, that says bone, by the way. You get an idea about how we think about race, okay? And we know who the different racial categories are. Now, ethnicity oftentimes when we think about the differences between people according to race, usually it's differences not just of biology and physical characteristics, but it's also social characteristics, cultural characteristics, okay? And so cultural differences. So if I were to ask you, what is the difference between, beyond the race, beyond the biology, different color of skin and looking different, beyond that, what is the difference between somebody that is white and black, or somebody that is Hispanic and Asian? So beyond the physical and biology, we start thinking about culture, okay? Cultural differences. What's also a really important point to know here is shared experiences. Now, what is crucial of thinking about the notion of shared is that it's not just my individual experience. It's the shared experience I have with people that are racially like me. That's what ethnicity is. So shared experience of culture. So language, sometimes it's the practice of religion. Sometimes it is even neighborhood, geography. Sometimes it's customs. Sometimes it's entertainment. What do we mean by that? Think about bluegrass music. Bluegrass music is pretty much a white people thing. Okay? Bluegrass music is a trait of ethnicity. I want to be careful by using the term trait as it relates to ethnicity. The same token as you're going to see here in a moment in the video that you're going to watch, we want to be careful of thinking about traits even as it relates to biology. For example, we know that this is not just about DNA. We know that people that have two different colors of skin might have more in common in terms of genes than people that have the same skin color. What is race? Okay, so back to this. Entertainment, food might factor into this. So you get the idea here that this is certainly much more cultural. Shared experience, okay? So you're going to watch a video that's going to elaborate on this right here, that's going to really look at race and how we begin to understand race in a historical context. Now, there is a lot of history around race and ethnicity, and if you do find this chapter interesting, along with the chapter on gender and social class, keep in mind that I have a bug right here, I'm sorry, but keep in mind that I teach a class called Inequality in Society in the fall. The class in the fall, Inequality in Society, covers social class, gender, race, and ethnicity exclusively that entire semester. And one of the things that we get into in a lot of detail is the history of race. We're going to look at the history of race after you watch the video that deals a lot with the biology, skin color largely. We're going to look at some of the history of race in the United States after that video. So there again is a brief introduction to the terms of race and ethnicity. And what I'm going to have you do now is to move on to watching a video that you'll see in your assignments.